All right, welcome to the joint meeting of the Board of Selectmen and the Affordable Housing Commission, Thursday, the 1st of June at 7:30 p.m. We'll call the Board of Selectmen meeting to order, and Mr. Poliano will do the same for his commission.
Call the special meeting of the Affordable Housing Commission to order.
The first order of business is a presentation, an option to develop 2 affordable housing units on McCulloch Family Open Space. And I believe the Affordable will takes the lead in this part of the program.
Did everyone know there were handouts here on Affordable, if you want one?
We just Okay. Thank you, Tim.
Good.
So we'll press on. So we're here tonight to talk about an option to develop 2 affordable homes on the affordable housing on the McCulloch Family Open Space. I'm going to start, though, with an update on where we stand on affordable housing in Old Lyman. The most recent numbers from the Department of Housing were just published a few weeks ago. And they are from 2022, and unfortunately it's not good news for the town. Our current qualified stock as of this most recent report is 79 affordable units, or 1.6%. That's down from 85 in 2020, primarily due to the loss of 10 affordable homes that were financed through the CHFA or USDA assisted mortgages. That's been a trend that's going on, most likely due to market conditions that have pushed home prices up to the point where even the small starter homes that have typically been qualified to be financed by CHFA have exceeded that point. And when their owners sell them, they go to a conventional mortgage, and we don't get credit for them as affordable anymore. We don't have hard numbers on this, but because of those conditions, it's also likely that there's been a similar reduction in the non-qualified, just naturally affordable homes that are that same relatively small size. So you put that against the backdrop of increasing mortgage and rent, and there's been no new affordable housing development in town over the last year, actually over the last more than 20 years, and the tide is against us, and we need to turn it. So that's just the backdrop for some of what we're going to discuss tonight. So on with the opportunity at hand. Just by way of background, as part of the McCulloch Family Open Space acquisition that was done in September of 2019 by the town, 2 3-acre, what are referred to as building envelopes or parcels, were purchased by the town for $50,000 each. The town has an option to develop 1 unit of affordable housing based on a deed restriction on each of those envelopes. I know the question comes up with why are you only proposing to build 1 home on a 3-acre parcel? It's because of a deed restriction. This option expires 5 years after the purchase date, which would put it in September of 2024. And if the option isn't exercised by then those 6 acres just get permanently added to the other 300 plus acres of open space that are there. These envelopes are under a conservation easement, and that deed restriction specifying that only 1 home can be built, 1 single-family home can be built on each. Access to the parcels is through an easement on the town-owned open space. That easement also serves the 2 affordable homes that abut the open space that are currently owned by the Hope Partnership. The Open Space Commission back last year arranged for site testing, and the results of that indicate that both parcels are buildable, with the possibility that one of them might need some site work to accommodate a septic system, but otherwise it looks feasible to actually build on those 2 plots. Also, we consulted with the Planning Commission, and they've indicated that dividing those 2 parcels off as building lots with access via the existing easement is also feasible. And finally, we did some rough cost estimates on a small home there, updated based on current construction costs and mortgage rates, and that test passed as well, that it should be feasible to put a small home on each of those lots within the limits of qualified affordability. So the next slide, Jen, is just a map of where these plots are. On this map, you'll see well, you have shades of gray on your printout, but the top oval there, it's actually in light blue. Those are the two building envelopes. You can see they're adjacent to the open space, and also adjacent to the light green circle there is the two existing properties that have affordable homes on them that are owned by the Hope Partnership currently. And then below that, the smallest circle in the lightest color is the west cul-de-sac of Flat Rock Hill, and that's where the driveway to those properties enters from. Okay, so toting up all of the feasibility work that was done and looking at the conditions and restrictions that the parcels are under, we came up with some objectives for project to move forward, and that is to construct one single-family home on each of the two envelopes that will first qualify and be protected as affordable housing, targeting the 60% AMI income level, though that's a target, not hard. We have to do the firm numbers and see just how affordable we can make it. The objective will, of course, be to make these as affordable as possible, and this translates into a monthly cost of ownership for the owners of about $1,700 for a four-person household. We, of course, need to honor the conservation easement and any other covenants that are in the paperwork that accompany the original purchase agreement. It's important also to stay in harmony with the adjacent open space. It's a beautiful lot, as you may have seen it's a beautiful piece of land that, as you saw on the photo on the title page. Put that back up later. And also with the neighboring community on Flat Rock Hill. We need to provide for reimbursement of the original $100,000 purchase price that was paid by the town to acquire these two parcels. It was done separately from the rest of the open space acquisition as two $50,000 parcels of land. And to the extent possible, while maintaining compliance with fair housing regulations, and there are very strong fair housing and equal opportunity regulations that need to be complied with, provide an opportunity for a household that lives or works in Old Lyme. So, again, toting all that up, it should be feasible to construct three-bedroom starter homes that will meet these objectives and work within the covenants and the restrictions on the lots. So we feel like at this point we're in a position to say, okay, let's invest some more time and sort out not just what we can do, but how we can do it. The next step was to look at approaches for thanks, John. For how we would tackle this. And two were considered. One was that the town would divide off the two parcels from the open space and retain ownership of those by the town. Have a town-sponsored and run project to develop the homes, to construct the homes, and to identify and qualify prospective buyers, and to sell the improvements, the homes, to those buyers, and lease the land to the owners. And this is similar to the approach that's being used by the Hope Partnership on the two properties that are adjacent to these building envelopes. The second one was that the town would just sell the land to a development partner that would take responsibility for constructing the homes, for recruiting and qualifying the owners, and for taking care of all of the activities leading up to the sale of the home to the new buyers. We had discussions among some of the stakeholders in this, the first Selectmen, the Affordable Housing and Open Space Commissions, and also consultation with the Board of Finance chair. And through those conversations, it was decided that the best approach would be to take the second one and work through a partner. And the rationale for that is that Old Lyme currently does not have the capacity to develop and manage the properties post-sale, or to, actually, we don't have capacity waiting to run a development, a construction project, and that building the needed capabilities and capacities within town government would be both time-consuming because we'd have to stand up this capability while we were trying to meet the deadline for exercising the option and actually getting the homes constructed and qualified owners in them. And the other is it wouldn't be efficient even after the fact. If we were able to do that, then we'd effectively have to stand up a housing authority just to manage 2 homes. And in the end, it was decided that didn't make the best sense from either of those perspectives. And this was so decided to go with a partner, and that was made easier by our fortune in having 2 experienced and capable and successful not-for-profit organizations that are dedicated and specialized in affordable housing development operating in southeastern Connecticut, those being the Hope Partnership out of Essex and Habitat for Humanity of Eastern Connecticut. So where we sit right now, our current status is that the Affordable Housing Commission applied for and was awarded a $150,000 grant to partially offset the costs of exercising the option and developing these two parcels. Our town council has advised that this grant can be used through a partner, although they did recommend that the town maintain responsibility for administering the grant, dispersing the funds, and doing the required documentation and reporting that goes with the federal funding. We also had exploratory discussions about partnering on the project with both Habitat for Humanity and the Hope Partnership. And those went very well. The Hope Partnership was very supportive of the project, but their strategy right now and where they're doing most of their work is on small to mid-scale multifamily rentals. And if you're following the news on this, they're working down the shoreline with some successful projects. Habitat for Humanity was very strongly interested in moving forward, and they believe that they have the capabilities and the capacity within the time frames that we're working under. So another phase in the feasibility check here was that so we have some funding, we have 2 lots that look buildable. It looks like we have a framework for 2, no pun intended, for the kinds of homes that can go in there and meet the affordability thresholds. And now it looks like we have a partner that's both capable and interested in the area and can work within the timelines. So where we sit right now, and I guess at this point I'm going to switch to the next agenda item, which is to make the recommendation, is that the Affordable Housing Commission at our May regular meeting voted unanimously to recommend the Selectmen picked Habitat for Humanity of Eastern Connecticut as the preferred partner to take the next step, which is to engage in the conversations and rolling up our sleeves to work the numbers, to come together on an agreement to exercise the option and actually construct the homes on the McCulloch family open space. I'm going to say a little bit more about Habitat for Humanity now, and we are joined tonight, I'm happy to say, by Sarah Loeffler, who's the Executive Director of Habitat for Humanity of Eastern Connecticut. Thank you, Sarah, for coming. Sarah also had a big meeting, her annual meeting, I believe, this week, and made the time to come here, and we very much appreciate it. And please correct me if I get any of this wrong, but Habitat for Humanity has been operating for over 35 years in the region, and has successfully completed 107 projects, 3 of which are in Lyme, 3 in East Lyme. There's a major project underway right now that you may have read about. The City of Norwich allocated about $2 million of their ARPA funding to doing redevelopment and rehabbing of some of their town-owned properties in Norwich. And Habitat for Humanity is their partner in that. There are other active and recently completed projects in Willimantic, in Norwich, East Lyme, and an upcoming project in Ledyard, I believe. Habitat for Humanity is soup to nuts functional. They manage planning and construction. They involve the potential new homeowners, community volunteers, and local businesses in the construction as an essential part of their model. They're able to recruit applicants to qualify and finally select applicants that would actually purchase the homes when they're completed. They assist the homeowners in obtaining government-assisted and other forms of below-market financing, both directly from Habitat for Humanity and through local banks. And this is really important now because we're already challenged in making these homes affordable. And if there can be relief from the currently rising interest rates, that's going to be an important factor in keeping the homes affordable. That also by organizing the volunteers, donations in kind. So there's a network that's out there. I think there are resources within Old Lyme that can be tapped. We've heard from multiple individuals and organizations that want to support this. So we feel like there's a good opportunity moving along their method of leveraging volunteers and also assisting with the finances to actually come through at the most affordable point possible. Habitat for Humanity also prepares and supports new homeowners post-sale. And they protect affordability through the future. First, they protect from the owners flipping the house for a profit through a variety of mechanisms, through legally binding agreements, through financing provisions, and through retaining a right of first refusal on the property. So if the properties come up for sale again, Habitat will have right of first refusal to buy them and then resell them again as affordable. And that seems to have worked nicely. 95% of the affordable homes by Habitat for Humanity over the last 35 years remain in their portfolio as affordable homes. This is in contrast to deed restriction, which is used by typically in the 830G process, and that's another way to do it, although deed restriction is not a 100% guarantee either. Deed restriction requires enforcement that is imperfect, and not all the homes. Deed restriction also lapses after 40 years, and they're 35 years in now, but this process can essentially work in perpetuity. So we're comfortable with having these homes protected as affordable in the future, and not just having one generation of homeowners benefit from that, but future generations as well. Further recommendation, given the way this partnership would operate, and also considering the need to help with organizing town-based resources and volunteers, and to administer the grant, we're recommending that a steering committee be formed, reporting to the Board of Selectmen, that would serve as a point of coordination with Habitat for Humanity for the town, make sure the town's objectives were being met, provide a single point of contact for the community. This is important. Implement a community engagement program with help from Habitat for Humanity, but actually implement it based in Old Lyme to recruit and manage the network of resources and volunteers that would be instrumental in making the project a success. And also, a technical job, but an important one is managing the grant. Kinds of experience we'd be looking for the steering committee would include housing development, ideally affordable housing, finance, including grant administration and ARPA grant administration in particular, communication, community organization to get the network of resources and volunteers organized. Definitely legal resources will be required. Some of the paperwork will be complex to exercise the option, and we'll need folks with the expertise to that, and ideally experience. The firm that is the town council actually did the McCulloch Family Open Space Agreement, and they have access to that expertise. And representatives from the Affordable Housing and Open Space Commissions, and I had checked in with Greg Fatoma, and the Open Space is interested in having a seat ex officio on So, if recommendations are accepted, the next steps would be to very quickly get on with the discussions with Habitat or whatever preferred partner we ultimately choose, hopefully Habitat, and continue work towards exercising the option. It would be coming up with the budget, coming up with some of the details, working with council to sort out exactly what needs to be done to exercise the option, and they're working on it already. And getting with the land use and finance departments to make sure that we get the grant assigned and in order, and that land use is considering what we're going to need to do to actually divide these properties. And again, we did an initial just feasibility check on this, and we didn't see any showstoppers, but now we need to get into the details of exactly what needed to be done to divide the properties. And then to appoint the steering committee chair first, I guess, and members. And Tim. And we have at least one applicant already for that committee, and hopefully we'll get more once over gets out on. So I will pause there and just note, this is a relatively small project. It's 2 homes. But it's a great opportunity that has been given to us by the Open Space Commission with disproportionately large importance, I think. It has the opportunity to realize the vision of the McCulloch family and the generosity of that family, and also the hard work by the Open Space Commission back in 2019 to make this real. It'll be a small step, yes, but a very important step to break a 20-plus year drought in new affordable housing development in town. Looking to the future, it would demonstrate the possibilities of coming up with a win-win solution between some of the more conservation-oriented objectives of open space and the housing objectives for affordable housing. I think that's important to have that be a more collaborative effort rather than trying to compete over the same limited availability of land. And hopefully it'll open up avenues for future collaborations. We think that Habitat has the practices, the resources, the capabilities, the people to help us overcome all of the challenges that are out there now from this market and the headwinds to affordable housing, to overcome those and to actually make the homes as affordable as possible. They count on community engagement. That's always been an objective of our commission from the beginning, to make the community part of this, and that's an integral part and an essential part of their model. And I'll also just say a quick word that we are fortunate to have both Habitat for Humanity and the Hope Partnership operating locally in affordable housing, and the Hope Partnership was not identified as if they actually self-identified as not being so interested, but they do other things, and we see a real opportunity for these kind of partnerships, including with Hope going forward. So I'll stop talking there and go to questions from the board, and Sarah's here to help.
Public comments next.
Any questions from the select?
I just had a couple of questions I guess it's for Habitat for Humanity. When you select the people, is there years of requirement that they have to stay there? And do you determine if they have 2 kids, they can't have more?
Sarah, you want
to? And then I just had concerns about stuff like that. And then what if they're affordable housing now, then they get a promotion, they get a new job, and their income, how progressive is it, or is it restrictive? Or obviously you want to, if they get a good job, it's a great thing for them. But I don't want them to be like, oh no, I can't get that job because then I can't qualify for that.
We're no different than any mortgage lender.
Okay.
The application is very much the same. The difference is the mortgages that we lend are 0 interest, and but other than that, we're loan originators. We have the same parameters as anyone else. As far as the mortgage itself, it's 30 years. And if a family finds themselves in a better situation 10, 15 years down the road, that's what that home is supposed to do.
Right.
It's the beginning of stabilizing a stable, to build generational wealth, and it's the beginning of that process. So that's what we hope. They would not the amount of equity they build within the mortgage, obviously it increases over time. They would have to have a significant change in lifestyle to flip that home, or to realize any of that equity. Which again, it would be wonderful for them.
Right.
And we would start an application process for a new family.
Is there a way to, I think it said that the residents would be preferred to live and work in Old Lyme. So how does that fit into the underwriting criteria? If you had 10 applicants, if there was a non-resident that had better profile, would they have to be selected, or could somebody with decent profile be selected by being, say, a resident or working in town?
I mean, there are things that we can and cannot control. All things being equal, there are tiebreakers based on when the application was handed in, and the condition of their current housing. There's a score that goes in. We do a home visit of where they currently reside, and there's a score that tallies, that signifies need. That's another factor. We cannot, fair lending, I can't discriminate or choose anyone based on any category. All things being equal, I don't know if that's going to happen. What you can control is community involvement, where we advertise, the ability to get the message out to folks in town that there are going to be 2 homes available, and really making sure if you have friends or family or someone, walking them through the application process and making sure it gets to the office on the first day, advertising that it's a 30-day application period. Those are the things that we can control.
Can you comment on the equity situation? So if somebody, say the house is hypothetically worth $100,000, so the land represents no cost to the person, so they would get a loan on the structure, the improvements, right? And that would be in a proportion to the whole. So the land equity would count as part of the equation for their benefit?
There's 2 different ways we can do this. You can do a land lease where Habitat maintains ownership of the property but sells the home. And so the homeowner would apply for a mortgage based on the price of the construction of the home. Or you can sell both outright as both land and home. We don't factor in, we factor in what we believe, an estimate of what the land is worth into the value of the home. But again, it depends on which way we decide to sell the home. If the family is going to move after X amount of time, it's really the value of the home that we look at. I'm not sure.
So if it went from $100,000 to $125,000, what would the owner of the improvements be entitled to?
There's a shared equity agreement, so it depends on how many years into the mortgage they are leaving the mortgage. There's a shared equity agreement between Habitat and the homeowner. So the longer they have the home, the smaller payment Habitat would receive, and the more value the homeowner would receive.
So it's scaffolded per year. As the years go up, they have more. And then when they sell it, they would get that percentage, and you would then start to look for the next homeowner.
Right, and ideally, the idea is for families to stay in their homes for 30 years. But if they were to do that, yes, that's what we would do.
Right. What is the longevity? In your 70, what was it, 75 projects, I think, that you've done?
107.
107. How many would you say are still remaining in those homes?
Well, we still have 95% of our properties in our possession. We're 36 years old in August. So the first couple of 30-year loans or 30-year mortgages that the affiliate awarded, or those folks just started to pay off their homes. I would say we're maybe 10 that have been paid off. Have there been instances where people have sold and moved? Sure. But like I said, there's still 95% of our properties that are in our name.
Are there any instances of foreclosure?
Yes, 2 in 36 years.
Are the mortgages assumable?
I'm not 100% sure what that
So
you're asking.
you're in a house and you're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
You have a favorable rate, let's say, would the bank let me take over your loan and then I would maybe make
No.
not assumable?
No. It's a reapplication there.
But getting back, I'm just curious, so if depreciation happened on the structure, and I guess the land as well, would the occupant be entitled to 100% of the house appreciation?
Again, it depends on how many years they've had their mortgage. If the home, which we hope, including the land, the whole kit and caboodle increases in value.
Yep.
There's a scale. If Habitat maintains ownership, if we have a land lease, we pay out a fair amount of the equity to the homeowner, but they can't sell their home. They wouldn't be able to sell their home for market rate because we own the property, and they need to sell it at an affordable rate. That's part of that deal.
Mm-hmm.
If they own the land, so we don't do a land lease, and they own the land, they can sell it at market rate because it's their property. So does that?
But the deed restriction is still maintained.
We get right of first refusal. So there's 2 different ways to go. You can do a land lease where Habitat maintains ownership of the land.
Yep.
And the family, the home, or you can sell the home and the land for with a 30-year mortgage, same deal, but they have
to offer it to
They have to offer
I
it to us.
thought all the portable units had deed restrictions that went on perpetually, so the house would not, if they own the land and the building, and in 10 years they sold it, would that house not be in the affordable pool anymore?
If we didn't purchase it back from them, we have first right of refusal. So if the house is, it's a good market value and it's in a great spot and it's in good condition and worth for us to sell to another family, then we would take it back. There is no deed restriction. There's the land lease, and then there's the right of refusal.
Deed restriction comes in through 830G, and that goes for 40 years, and then it's gone. And that requires enforcement. What Sarah's describing is another set of tools to make sure that affordability is preserved, actually in perpetuity.
And it depends on what your
excite.
goals are.
Yeah.
If you want to maintain an address at an affordable, as an affordable home for an extended period of time, we would use a land lease. If the goal was to help families build equity and hope that they kept that house in their family, and then you would sell the property and the house as well.
And that has a positive side too, because for them to build equity, that means they have to maintain that house. They can't let it go.
If it were leased, you would have control over the condition of the home?
Excellent question. They are responsible for Everything a homeowner would be responsible for, land, snow. They would have to seek permission in writing to improve their home structurally. So if they wanted to add bedrooms, they're not allowed to add bedrooms. They're not allowed to change the value of the home so that it becomes not affordable.
Yeah.
So if they wanted to build a fence or something along those lines, they would have to follow all of the town's rules and restrictions, but they would have to apply first.
But if you do the lease deal, do you have annual inspections, so to speak?
No. We try very much to treat them like homeowners. And I don't drive past their houses and tell them to mow their lawns. I don't. But if they wanted to physically change their property, they would need to let us know.
And if it was a sale, they own the whole thing, there's even less control of how the house would be maintained, perhaps?
Yes, we provide support. We provide, they're a part of the Habitat family. They can call us. There's a warranty for the first year. They can call us if something goes wrong with their home. They can call us really anytime. We have a cell phone called the homeowner hotline, and it rings often. But control, no. Assistance, yes.
Yeah.
And Tim, I'm just gonna editorialize a little bit from the affordable housing standpoint. That's what we want. The objective here is to have people come into the community and build a life and build equity and build generational wealth and have responsibility for that. That's what we're after, not to have them be controlled.
Yeah, I'm just
Assisted.
thinking,
So that really
out of 170 houses or something, if any, they went the wrong way and they weren't maintained and you've got a problem on your hands and so forth. If you have no control or no
recourse.
It just seems you're in the back, you don't have much say in what goes on if it's going south on you.
Well, neither does the bank.
Right.
We rely on the same.
One of our, somebody could buy a house and let anyone else.
I know, but, the value of the property is being not given, but it's being issued to the homeowner, and so a lot of people have put a lot of time and effort in to get a good product there, and you think hopefully in most cases, they would maintain it properly,
I think
if somebody, we've seen houses in Old Lyme that it's regrettable, they're not kept up, so with this affordable thing, you'd think there'd be some measure of control if it started sliding badly.
Well,
There's
I think
really
you
no
could-
difference between that and an affordable home that's sold under 830G. So it's not unique to
What we try to do is provide as much education as possible.
support.
The program that these homeowners enter into with us, it's not just an application. It's a 12 to 18 month journey, really, where they have volunteer support the entire time, and they have our support. We teach them how to budget, how to shop for homeowners insurance, how to have a fund set aside to care for your home, to have a lawnmower and to buy a snow shovel and things that are not in your budget when you rent. They walk out with a manual about this big, and we add things to it every time we sell a home, and when we learn to remember to change the batteries in your smoke detector. I mean, you wouldn't believe all the things that come into play when you rented, haven't owned anything your whole life.
And they also, just the sweat equity that they have to put in, and so it's over 400 hours that the homeowners have to put into the house to help build.
So they learn
So they're around everybody all the time.
what's behind their walls and under their floors, and they have that sense of ownership that starts building very early. And you hope at the end of all of that you have another successful family.
so it's 400 hours and there's 2 adults. So it's 200 each. I mean, they just have to, in combined, 400 hours.
Right. If there's a single adult, we modify that.
Okay.
And there's a certain amount of hours friends and family can donate. So I can go and on your behalf if you wanted and put in 8 hours and it would count towards. So there's different ways to achieve that, but the large majority, they are putting their time either into their home or someone else's.
And you have a large following of volunteers who help as well.
We're very lucky. We have two different, sects of volunteers. We have a group of volunteers that comes fairly regularly, and then we have another group that are just companies having a service day, or a group of my family did a build a few Saturdays ago and put in windows. It was so we do at least 3 group builds a week, and then if we have a group of what has amounted to basically retired carpenters that come out pretty much every day. So it's a nice balance.
Good.
Sarah, hearing what you do makes me even more confident that we need to partner on this, by the way. There's a lot that goes into it.
It's a lot of fun. It's very rewarding. We have a dedication coming up this Sunday. 2 families have completed all the requirements and the homes are ready, and they get their homes dedicated to them on Sunday, and a special day.
Well, let's see, under page 11, you say affordable housing, open space planning. Has planning weighed in on this? Here's what would have to happen. We'd have to have a town meeting to approve selling the land to Habitat. And that would be, I forget, there's a number they use, okay. And then I'm not sure whether the land use people, that's all taken care of at this point?
Not down to every I being dotted and T being crossed, but Harold sized it up and said you did not see any showstoppers.
Right.
I think the purpose today is just to say that we're starting the discussion, that we would enter an agreement to discuss.
But I think it'd be useful to have kind of a roadmap saying, okay, in 2 months we need to have land use do what they have to do, and then...
I think that's the purpose of your steering committee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your steering committee, once they get together, have to put the timeline together. What is the normal timeline from start to finish?
That all depends on how many volunteers we have.
Okay.
It can be, the 2 homes we're dedicating on Sunday, we did in 9 months. But that's with an amazing winter of weather and a lot of volunteers. That's a special thing.
Okay.
Usually a year to 14 months.
Okay.
Yeah, we have the clock on making this happen is September 24, right?
Yeah, to exercise the option, but not necessarily complete the program.
Not to build it.
Correct.
Exercise the option.
Right. But I think that would be change of title we talked about.
Right.
Yep. So that would be a goal to get that on the calendar ideally, and then hopefully that would come along, and then we have a closing on the lot to Habitat, and then take it from there. Yeah. Okay.
More questions from the board?
I guess we could also...
And we can, so that would put us into public comment then, would be the next item on the agenda. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, so we have on the agenda public comment. So if there are members of the audience that would like to pose questions, please come forward.
Karen Winters, I live in Whipplewell, and I was a former member of this group of fine folks. I'm curious how much Habitat would pay for the land? Do we know?
The reimbursement price is $100,000.
So they're going to reimburse for that. Okay, then my other question, more I think, is for Habitat. What would be the path that we would follow if it wasn't an Old Lyme resident? Because that was my understanding of the use of the ARPA funds. So as somebody who lived or worked in Old Lyme. So if you can't distinguish that, then does that mean that we have to go a different way in order to make this happen?
And Karen, I'm quite familiar with the ARPA application. The ARPA application did not stipulate that it would go to an O1.
Actually, there's a heading on it, Michael, and I'll send it to you, and it says that it's living or working in Old Lyme for the ARPA funds. So we might want to take that off the record and chat. And then I just need to clarify, because I couldn't hear what you said about a resident sale. Like, so they can take, say for example, I bought this, and in 5 years I want to sell it, and I sell it for market rate?
No.
No. There's a restriction.
Right.
Could you explain the restriction, how that works?
Well, first of all, the affordable mortgage and then the second mortgage would both need to be satisfied if you were to sell your home back to Habitat. So it would be not ideal for a homeowner to do that. Something would have to change significantly in someone's life. As far as the value of the home, it depends on whether we own the land or we sold the land with the home. If we sold the land with the home, you would be like any other person selling their home, except pretty much everything you would owe back to Habitat. So you could sell at market rate, but you would have to pay back your first and second mortgage.
And what happens to the ARPA funds? So does that become profit for the purchaser?
No, the ARPA funds would be reimbursed.
So that would be reimbursed
The
back to-
$100,000, that's the cost from the ARPA funds.
Right, but we have $150,000 of our ARPA
Right,
funds that we
yes,
were allocated for Habitat, or for affordable housing. So if it goes to 2 families, and they then sell their homes at market rate, those funds don't stay part of the affordability in our town any longer.
It would be very, very surprising
But possible.
if 2 families sold their homes in less than 30 years.
So if it's, so what the restriction is for how many years then?
So if the home, if your first mortgage, you buy the house for $100,000, it costs us $180 to build, right? That's your second mortgage. And then whatever the value of the home is beyond your second mortgage is what we put into shared appreciation. So if you were to sell your house at market rate, you would owe back your first mortgage, your second mortgage, and a large percentage of the shared appreciation. That's what we were talking about, that goes up for the homeowner for the life of the mortgage. So to sell early, there's no money that would go back to the homeowner unless the market rate is a big hit. I mean, it's not, it's very unlikely.
But possible.
Everything's possible.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Could we get your name, please?
Karen Winters.
Okay.
Yeah, also on any kind of selection process for any of these affordable homes, whether it be through Habitat, Hope, or a town-formed building committee, all HUD restrictions apply. So you can't, the qualification of a person or a family to be selected for that, you cannot discriminate, between where they live.
Right, and I understand that for their purpose, but as far as the ARPA funds, they're for Old Lyme, it's for Old Lyme. Thank you.
It would be benefiting Old Lyme to have affordable housing, so.
Any other public comment?
Hi, yes. First of all, to say you can say that you guys are partnered with Hope again is kind of a...
Can we get the name, please?
Debbie O'Neill. They were a disaster when they tried to put in that, that housing near the highway. But anyway, I have a family member that works for Habitat for Humanity down south, and he, was running projects for them. And he said it was sad because a lot of times, like these houses, you're handing somebody a house, furnished, it's all set and ready to go. Pan forward 5 years, the door's falling off, things are happening and they're not getting fixed. And he said it was frustrating for him because, Habitat, and maybe it's different here, but Habitat was it wasn't in the business of repairing these homes. So it's up to these homeowners to do that, and he said that he saw a lot of failures with that, and he also noticed that, there might be a family that, like a single mother with like 2 children, and, they move into this house, and then before you know it, there's cousins moving in, there's a brother moving in, and you've got 10 people in the house that was meant for 3 people. I don't know how that would be enforced, at all through that, because I just, like I said, this is my experience of, like I said, having a family member work there, and that was, a lot of his, what he was, a lot of his angst, with dealing with habitat. And I guess their mission's altruistic, I understand that, like they, to give somebody home ownership, I think that's a great thing, but I just worry about who they're going to place in that home, and, I know there's some people that don't keep up their houses, but for the most part, Old is pretty good about, the residents are, pretty good about keeping up their homes. The other question I have is, why do we have to comply with the affordable housing if we don't have septic? We don't have sewers, we don't have water. Like, why is it we weren't like excused from it?
We do have capacity in town to build homes.
Right, but I thought like if you didn't have like the infrastructure, you could ask not to, I thought you could get like, excused from the affordability, the affordable homes.
That's not the case.
That's not the case, okay. Thank you.
Yes, come on.
Hi, I'm Laura Fitzpatrick-Nager. I'm a member full-time, live-time. And I really just wanted to make a comment of gratitude to the Affordable Housing Committee. I know how long and hard you have worked to bring some opportunities for affordable housing to Old Lyme, and your steadfast leadership is impressive. I can't say enough about Habitat for Humanity, their track record, their humanity, the vetting process that goes on, the application process, the relationship process. It's very lengthy, and it is only going to provide us with 2 homes. We're quite out of compliance, as we all know, but it's an incredible step forward. So thank you for all of your work in moving us forward on this important issue.
I have a question from Northern Colorado. So I've asked this question before, and I don't really feel like I've ever gotten the answer to this. So this affordable housing that we're trying to fulfill, is this like something that we as a town will find if we don't meet some state statute? How does it work? Like, what are these numbers that we're trying to meet? And what are the ramifications to the town if we don't meet them? Because I know there's always this goal of affordability numbers, but I never really understood, is it something that we are going to pay a price to the state if we don't have a certain percentage of affordable housing units within our...
I don't want to get too far down an 830G tutorial here. There's a lot of material out on our website. But I will just say there's a 30-plus-year-old state statute that you've probably heard called 830G. And what that does is, for towns that have less of their housing stock, less than 10% of their housing stock qualified as affordable, meaning that they are sold at a price that would cost someone making 80% or less of the area median income 30% or less of that income. Okay, that's a lot of numbers, but basically, you need someone who is of qualified low income occupying a home, and then it would qualify as affordable. If less than 10% of the town's, any town in Connecticut's housing stock meets that criteria, then developers have the opportunity to come in and create developments, and if at least 30% of those developments are qualified as affordable, are set aside and qualified as affordable, then local zoning regulations can be overridden as long as they don't infringe on public health and safety. So basically what it does is it allows developers who are willing to come in and allocate at least 30% of their developments as affordable to come in and override local zoning regulations that would affect things like density and setbacks and such, as long as they didn't infringe on health and safety. That's the essence of it. There's a ton more, but there's actually if you go to the affordable housing webpage on the town, there's like a 2-page tutorial on it. It's a good read. So there's currently no specific like tax penalty or fee, but that's discussed every year in the legislature, and it's becoming closer and closer to a reality every year in the legislature. So
There's some bills that are being considered in this session that would make it more difficult for towns. So we'll see. Anyone else?
Anthony Vasilio.
The name, please?
Anthony Vasilio.
Anthony's an alternate member of the Affordable Housing Commission.
And my question is, in any ordinances in Old Lyme, are there any occupancy guidelines that would address the issue that was raised a few moments ago that would place restrictions on the number of people that could reside within a structure with X number of bedrooms? There are some federal statutes have it for federal housing, but I didn't know if Old Lyme had any ordinances or something that might be looked into that became an issue.
I think you just gave ourselves some homework, Bill. Yeah. You just gave ourselves some homework. Anthony's an alternate on the commission.
That property that area, or something, what zone is it?
That's for square footage.
Yeah.
Don't know, Anthony, but we can find out very quickly. We have those.
I think building defines bedrooms versus other rooms and so forth. So, but you don't know if people overload a house. It's very difficult to. You drive around, you see 4 or 5 cars in front of a small house. You kind of wonder why that is. Either they like cars or there are more people in there. That's probably taxing the septic system. Do you have any experience in that?
I think that my comment on the overload situation would be this. Habitat is a program that's designed and meant to help families escape overcrowding. It's designed to help families not need to spend more than 30% of their income, their hard-earned income, on rent and poor living conditions. I think it's important to remember that we're not giving homes away. We don't give homes to people. They're buying them. And they're buying them for 30% of their annual income. They're buying them for an affordable rate. They're still buying them to get them out of having 5 people in a 1 bedroom. So as far as the overcrowding of homes once they're purchased, I don't have any experience with that. I would just like to remind folks that that's exactly what we're trying to prevent.
I have a question. Can they use rental vouchers for a mortgage? Can people who have rental vouchers use that for a mortgage for Habitat?
No.
No?
Would the paperwork restrict an owner from renting the house to other people, either temporarily or longer term?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I have a quick one about the habitat. Could there be a situation where if something went awry, the bank ends up taking it back and then they go to put it on the market? Or are they bound to, is there something in there where they're bound to give it to Habitat as the first right of refusal? I know you said something about that, but I couldn't hear.
If something went awry, it would go awry to us. We hold the mortgage. So we would foreclose on that.
Also, the bank wouldn't have anything to do with it.
They are the bank.
Anyone else?
Anybody on the phone?
Yeah, that's next. Anyone on the phone care to raise a question? So, following public comment, then I think the Board of Selectmen could consider a motion to select the preferred partner as Habitat for Humanity. So, would the board like to make a motion in that regard?
I'll make a motion to select Habitat for Humanity as the preferred partner for the option to develop the 2 affordable housing units in the McCullough Family Open Space.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? No discussion. Ready to vote? All in favor of the motion to select Habitat, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. So, we will, I don't know, do we enter into some written agreements and so forth with Habitat as a result of this?
That's the path we're on now.
Yeah.
We need to stand up the steering committee and
Okay.
that's the path we're on as soon as we
Do
can.
we need to make a motion to develop the steering committee?
Well, I think we would be open to some suggestions. I don't think we have names at this point, but...
No, but to create the steering committee.
To create, we have to make a motion to create a steering committee.
Right.
And then Michael and you can decide how you'd like to do that as far as maybe drafting an application for people who are interested to become part of it.
Yeah, and I guess that would involve a mission and a number of people and the whole thing.
We have specifications that they've already laid out in here.
Yeah.
Be quickly rendered into a charge.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, this is not on the agenda, so...
Well, we could add it to the agenda Monday.
We can add it to the agenda on Monday.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Okay.
We'll discuss that. Okay, well, I think that covers this portion of the agenda.
In that case, since we've reached the end of the Affordable Housing Commission component of the agenda, we can adjourn the Affordable Housing Commission at this point and let you get on.
Okay, so why don't we take a small recess and we'll come back and finish up here.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Susan had to take a break. The Lieutenant Governor. So, guess who presided over the ceremony? Martha? Yes, she did. She had a picture taken. Good for her. And she wore her pink. I know. She's I'm so excited. I don't blame you. How's Margie doing? Good. I haven't seen her lately. And the only contact I have is Mark Christensen, who's not a reliable source. So, how's Margie doing? She's good. You know that Shannon bought the house behind them. Oh, is that where she's living? Yeah.
She's on Shirley Lane.
Is she really?
So it's a little tired.
Yeah. My parents lived on Shirley. They were Shannon's neighbors, like just down the road.
So it was a little...
Yeah. I didn't know it was a separate parcel.
It was. And so they have a shared driveway entrance. So...
I think that, thank you for pointing out, it's a good question, and I think in this particular situation, I think a land lease might be...
And now she pays them rent.
How many years?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Does she have a view?
She does. From her, she has a side porch and
Yes.
looks right out through Caroline.
Perfect. Perfect. Good for her. And good for him. I honestly didn't know that was a separate. I don't know why I thought it was part of the Settos property or something. I don't know why I thought that. Well, when they first moved in, they said right away it wasn't. So, I didn't know either until. I probably got it. Yeah. Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Take care. Enjoy
Thanks,
it.
Mo. I'll be watching. Good luck with it. Thank you. Thank you.
It sold again.
I've been thinking of it so long.
So the picture out.
It was North Carolina? No, my work is, affordable
The nephews have moved out now, and now nobody wants to. Bye, Jen, good to see you. Take care. Yeah. They stay in touch, Beth. Okay.
Can we do this at another time? I don't know. They stay in the house for 30 years. That's the point. And really, every...
What, Kim? We're coming back.
I'm just, yeah, I'm not quite sure why there's a break here.
I don't know, wait, I think he thought people wanted to leave.
Because it's a special meeting, right, so...
I haven't,
I think drop it down. I don't think I tasted it, but
I did walk the dog. Again?
14th at night.
We have to catch up. You're calibrating next week. How did you get that agreement in your box?
No, it was attached to one of these things that you sign, you know. So I signed that one, and it was attached to that one.
Well, indeed, I guess it could be broader.
Have a comment outside of this. And if you guys can Yeah, because it's on the agenda, you take the vote. Now it's
$6 per hour. My new rate of pay at overtime. Job.
Okay, I'm leaving.
Yeah, because we'll reconvene here.
This is over here, approved, Tim, approved. No, I don't approve. Anything here about
Kim, we gotta go. It's getting late.
places to be.
We wanna go home. Just one item.
Okay.
Well, there was a comment, a public comment.
Hey, that was
kind of
amazing.
this.
Yeah,
think
I
if
know that.
we can open it back up briefly, and
Why?
because if people thought that they could have public comment
We did.
on things other than affordable.
It doesn't say that.
Well,
Thank you.
charitable.
Get out of your dad's way. Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll come back. Come back into session here. Unless the selectmen have objection, there was some wanted to have additional public comment that were unrelated to the affordable housing. Do we want to allow that, or we went through number 3, which was public comment, and moved on to 4? So,
Is there anyone for public comment?
Well,
Sloan Dan now. I'm here because it has to do with the Memorial Day Parade. I felt that it was not right that the Democrats set up a tent right here on town property. And this is an occasion that shouldn't have politics mixed up with anything. And to me, it was disrespectful to the intent of the holiday, if you want to call it that. I don't know why they call it a holiday, but so my suggestion is I wondered if there was a way that there could be an ordinance, and it's not necessarily the Democrats. Nobody should be able to have any kind of political, undertaking while something like this is going on for such an occasion. It's disrespectful to the intent of the holiday. That's all. Just wanted to suggest it.
Ken? David?
Yeah, David Griswold. As a veteran, I look forward to Memorial Day. I think the town does a wonderful job. We had over 30 organizations that were participating in the parade. Of course, we had a very respectful service down at Duck River. And I think it's wonderful. 3 selectmen from both political parties marched together down the street. Other people from boards and commissions put politics aside and commit to the day. And I agree with Mr. Danner. I don't think it's appropriate. I know the people that were at the tent, they're good people. I don't think they're meant to be disrespectful. I just don't think it's appropriate. And I hope in the future that the town would discourage any politics during Memorial Day. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. We will turn to number 5. I believe there has been some recent discussion on how we structure this matter, which is having an informational session on the senior center expansion. What we wanted to do would be to have an information session on a Monday night, and ideally the vote, such as the school does, on the next night, Tuesday night. Council advised that it may be necessary to have a separation in time between the informational piece of it and the vote, to be at least 7 days after the information session and not later than 14 days. So I think that in as much as we are getting conflicting information on this, that I think we need to get this resolved, and we could bring it up at the next Selectmen's meeting, which will be Monday. We would like to have the session, be it a Board of Selectmen meeting, a town meeting, whatever it might be, on the Monday night, that would be informational. So we need clarity on what entity would host the meeting, and then get it clarified as to how soon thereafter we could have the referendum. It's important because, as we know, with the school referendum, we have to provide staff to man the polls, and there are a lot of other requirements, so it's not an easy thing to do. We thought by having voting by ballot, yes/no type of ballot, that would give people more opportunity, more time to vote, as opposed to saying we're going to vote on this at a meeting in, say, the town hall here or at the school, and you have to show up at 7 or 7:30 on a given night to vote on it, and that's it. So, it's a consequential issue. Our share would be approximately $4 million. Lime share is about $1.3 million. So, we think that we should provide people with more time to express their vote, as opposed to just a given night. So I think we want to table this concept to our next meeting, and get our facts straight here.
So, make a motion to move item number 5 to the agenda for
Well, let's just table the...
table, okay.
Yeah. Mr. Ward, yeah.
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion on it?
Just that on our May 19th meeting, you made the recommendation that there be another information meeting for voters on May 12th.
Yep.
And that at 7 p.m. in the town hall. And it says followed by an Lyme referendum on Tuesday, which the date is wrong. It says June 12th again, from noon to 8. So we did vote on an information session, which our understanding was is that the building committee would be putting that on once again from the senior center building committee.
Yeah, right. But council was saying that as opposed to a Board of Selectmen's meeting at the Monday night time frame, that he was thinking it should be a town meeting. So we need to get this figured out. And I guess we would unwind whatever else was, whatever other motion there was. We would want to extinguish that and start over again.
Okay. Well, you're going to talk to Michael Carey tomorrow?
Yes, we'll have to manage that. My time will be limited, but we can continue on with that.
He knows that you have to leave at 10:30. I did tell him.
Okay. Very well. Let's vote on that. All in favor of tabling that?
Aye.
Okay. No opposed, no abstain. Good. The last item on the agenda, I received a letter from the state of Connecticut which concerns the so-called scenic overlook. A lease on the scenic overlook is expiring at the end of the month, and we have an opportunity to renew that. So if you don't know what the scenic overlook is, it's just north of the I-95 ramp going up to...
Hold on, Tim. You have that on Monday's meeting. Number 6 here is the estuary district.
Oh, what am I doing? Yeah, sorry. Okay, yeah, okay, yeah, the Estuary Transit District, yeah, let's back up on that.
Valley Transit?
Yeah, they took my script. Bad dogs. Bad dogs. Okay. What the heck is that? Well, the Estuary Transit District receives a grant from the state of Connecticut, and similar to 911 call center, the towns customarily turn their portion of the grant over to the entity, which is Estuary Transit District in this case. So I'll read this. The Estuary Transit District currently is in the process of applying for a state matching grant for elderly and disabled demand-responsive transportation. And that would be basically like a dial-a-ride. Part of this application process requires 2 letters from each municipality within the district. One is a maintenance effort certification, and the other is a grant assignment certification, which are attached. And then we are to supply the transit district with the budget documents showing the budget requests for transportation services for the state fiscal year 2024. Proposed budgets requests are acceptable. Our grant application is due to the state by June 15th, so your prompt response would be appreciated. And so the grant assignment, this is where we essentially give over whatever interest we would have in the portion of the grant. We acknowledge that Lyme is participating in a consolidated grant application under the state of Connecticut 13B-38BB, Elderly and Disabled Demand Responsive Municipal Grant Program. The municipality hereby assigns its grant apportionment from the state program to the above listed entity, Estuary Transit District, who will coordinate the operation of the transportation services. And then the other maintenance of effort certification, municipality or line hereby certifies the state of Connecticut that same number, elderly, disabled, demand responsive municipal grant program funds on transportation programs for seniors and persons with disabilities will be in addition to the current municipal levels of spending. Now, the town actually allocated $17,195 to the Estuary Transit District as part of its budget. So I have the budget request letter and a copy of the budget form itself, which has that amount listed under social services and senior citizens, $17,195. So I think that satisfies showing what we've allocated, and then we're assigning the interest in the state grant back to Estuary Transit.
So basically, it's a state grant, but once we get it, we're assigning it to the Estuary Council so that they're going to maintain the grant and they'll put through everything. And do they report back to us on what it's being spent on?
I think it would be for this particular type of transportation. I think it would be classified as dial-a-ride.
Right. So will they let us know if it's actually being used and utilized?
Yeah, well, that is a program that they have. I think this is an annual thing.
Let me ask you a question. Who maintains, like, the transit center that's up by the police station? Who maintains that property? Is Estuary?
Town.
Okay.
They provided the shelter, but they have no interest in the real estate, or at this point, I don't think they even probably own the shelter. It was donated to us and we put it up. So it's just a convenience for the buses to pull in there. This does not specify what the grant sum is and how much our portion is.
Okay.
So make a motion to
both of them?
I guess if we could authorize the first selectman to sign documents related to this municipal grant.
So moved.
Yes. Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. That would be number 6 here. So, any more discussion on it?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, very good. Passed unanimously. So the last item is Mr. Ward's favorite.
Motion to adjourn.
At 8:57.
Thank you.
Second.